All right, guys, so welcome back to Fast Finance. Today we're going to be picking out a few of the most important financial topics of the day. To start out, Biden is actually going to be grouping Merck and Co. To help with Johnson & Johnson in creating its single-shot coronavirus vaccine. So obviously keep a close eye on both of those companies. This is a collaboration amongst rivals, and it's aimed at increasing the pace of inoculations throughout the rest of the year so Biden can keep up with his goals that he's mentioned previously in his administration. Next up, I have a new Rocket Lab SPAC actually closing. So this is going to be Rocket Lab. They consummated a deal with Vector Acquisition via SPAC. It's essentially a blank check company. And they're going to end up, they being Rocket Labs, is going to end up with $750 million in cash with a valuation of $4.1 billion. They're going to trade on the NASDAQ under the symbol RKLB. If everything goes as expected, so do keep that in mind. Just judging by the first character, though, the first paragraph here, though, the CEO here does seem like a bit of a character and certainly like somebody that might be able to advertise a company. Next up, we have a quick story, but this is Rocket surging 71% in a similar situation as what was expected and what might be occurring with GME as shorts are crashing and burning. Shares were trading was actually halted at one point after shares gained more than 60%. And despite that, the stock actually closed 71% higher than it was the day previous to that. Next up, we have, quote unquote, this closely watched stock market indicator nears a sell signal. So, Bank of America sell side indicator, it's the average recommended equity allocation by sell side strategists. Okay, so that's gained about 1 percentage point to 59.2% in February from 58.4% in January. That's going to be the second month in a row of roughly 1 percentage point increase. And at its current level, the recommended equity allocation is near a 10-year high and it's just shy of a sell signal. And actually, the last time that it was this high was June of 2007. The stock market obviously then went on to see 12-month returns of 13%. Do keep that in mind. And next up, I have 6 Dr. Seuss books dropped for racist imagery. I tried to read some articles on it. I wasn't actually able to find any of that imagery, but if this is something that continues to happen, I can't imagine that the publishers are going to fare well with all the intellectual property that they're going to be losing. Next up, I have Intel ordered to pay $2.18 billion in a chip patent case. So a judge in Texas went ahead and ordered Intel to pay that sum because he did find that the company had infringed patents relating to chip making. Didn't affect the company too much. At last check, down 2%. But we will see tomorrow how that fares as well. This is real brief. Fidelity adds 26 million new accounts on small investor surge. So this is to a certain extent to be expected. Fidelity has been increasingly hyped up amongst retail investors, especially after the GME fiasco, as they actually were institutional investors in GameStop, and as a result, did not engage in a lot of the halting and whatnot that other companies did. Next up, we have this this story right here. So this billionaire actually is buying up quite a bit of real estate, very successful one at that, is buying up quite a bit of real estate during the pandemic. Essentially, he is using his extensive cash reserves and leveraging that against what he feels are undervalued real estate prices. So he has absolute confidence that real estate is going to bounce back after the pandemic. And given his, immense success record, that is reassuring, considering so many others are saying the opposite. And then finally, we have Hulu poised to pass ABC in ad sales. So ad sales at Disney's direct-to-consumer business rose 47% to 882 million last quarter. And that's closing in on the figure of 984 million that ABC touts. So pretty soon, outlets like Hulu, ESPN Plus, ABC.com are going to be passed up. Viewership actually of streaming TV has exploded in recent years. That's quite obvious. But more importantly, at the same time, Disney has been creating a quote-unquote one-stop shop for marketers across its various networks and platforms. Now, this is very important because in the past, advertisers had to deal with separate entities and teams if they wanted to go to ABC or ESPN or Hulu. Instead of the overall conglomerate, they had to go to whatever that niche was, and they only had limited information. Now, using data Disney provides about who is watching and when, companies are able to get involved that otherwise maybe wouldn't have gotten involved. And in fact, it says here, small businesses the company hasn't traditionally worked with are also using Disney's online platforms, which speaks directly to what I was just saying there. But anyways, that was the top stories of the day. Hope you enjoyed it or learned a little something. But do tune in for a new video tomorrow, as I will be covering the top stories then as well. Thank you very much.